Welcome back to the garden. It has been a minute. So this is where we are. We started our lovely little garden, building beds, planting seeds. It was like the middle of March. We are now at the end of May, and I mean like ones of days away from June. Ones of days. Things are just not moving the way that I had hoped that they would. I was hoping by now we would have some lush things, harvest things, and all the things, and that is just not the life that we are living. So right now I'm standing in front of our melon bed. This is where we have the watermelon, the cantaloupe, we have some basil, and we have the California poppies growing. Actually, let me rephrase that. Nothing's really growing. So I did notice though that some of our cantaloupes are actually flowering now, which is very cool. A few of the basil plants have gotten a little bit taller, but the growth has really been so incredibly slow. So if you remember from the last video, I talked about the mistakes I've made so that you don't have to. A lot of you responded and gave me great feedback. I am so incredibly grateful. You have no idea. So I did implement some of that, just took your advice and ran with it, made some changes. I have fertilized, I've been watering, I've been doing all the things. And according to the things that I've read and the videos that I've watched, you should be able to see some growth approximately every 7 days or so. And at this point, we're going on like well over 2 months. Like we're heading into 3-month territory and things just have not been popping off. It's time to make some changes. I'm going to show you what the garden beds are looking like because that's my real concern is the garden beds. The fruit that we have, the lemons, the raspberries, those guys are doing just fine. If you follow me on Instagram, then you have seen some of the raspberry harvest that has been just like heaven. It is the coolest thing in the world, but that's not why we're here. Let me show you these garden beds and then get your advice. So this bed next to me is the bed where we have our carrots, our cilantro, our broccoli rabe, the kale, the things, and things are just not hitting. This is one of the beds that gets hit by the sprinklers, so she gets regular water and she's been fertilized and all the things, and it seems like some of the plants have just dried up. Some of them are doing things like minor things, mostly like the nasturtiums. They have been flowering, but nothing else is really hitting. So we did our initial seed planting and those were doing okay. 2 to 3 weeks later, I went back in and added more seeds just to really bulk things up. Those seeds actually seem to do better than the initial seeds. So is it because it was warmer at that time? I really just don't know. I feel like we did really well with the soil we chose, the compost we chose, and even the fertilizer. We've been doing a fish fertilizer. So my big question mark is, are these beds not getting as much water as I thought they were getting? So to test this out, I did get these water gauges or these rain gauges from Amazon. I will link them below, but I am going to move these around the garden for the next few days and just see how much water the sprinklers are actually depositing into these beds, because I have a sneaky suspicion these beds are not getting as much water as I had initially thought they were. So that could be a big problem. We know that seeds, plants, all these babies, they need a lot of water, especially here. It is incredibly hot and humid, and some gardeners even recommend watering twice a day once we're hitting like 90 degrees, 100 degrees. I don't know, but I do think water could be the culprit. The bed right next to me is our OG bed. This is the very first birdie bed that we put together. It's the bed I am most proud of. Not because of the way that it's doing, but just because it's the first one. It's our firstborn. Do you know what I mean? So this is the bed that is in the absolute worst shape. So much so that I just stopped watering it, stopped fertilizing, because things just weren't going anywhere. In fact, things were just drying up. Our nasturtiums were starting to blossom, and then they were just getting like mowed down. I don't know who is coming through in the night hours, or maybe even the day when I just don't see them, and just mowing them down, but it hurts me in my soul. So this bed is definitely a start from scratch situation. My soul hurts, but I'm not giving up. We're not done. The fight is not over. My deepest apologies for the shade, but it is intentional. So in the last video, I talked about putting this birdie bed in the shade. When we placed this bed, it was nice and sunny all day long. What I had forgotten is that our oak tree grows, she fills in very quickly as soon as like mid-spring hits, and there's a lot of shade coverage. So I was concerned because this is the bed where we planted our tomatoes, our carrots, and onions. But I did get a lot of feedback from you, and thank you tremendously and eternally. You were kind enough to tell me that it is actually good for the tomatoes to have the shade coverage. Otherwise, it can be really harmful to them. It could stunt their growth and so much more. So where do we stand today? Well, we've had a little bit of growth in this bed, but again, not a lot. The tomatoes have definitely gotten taller, but I don't see any flowers. I just don't see a lot happening. Very few of the carrots have gotten taller, and the onions are still just kind of like, there's not much to write home about there. So what do we do? Where are we now? It's the big question mark, and this is exactly why I have come to you for help. So here's where we are. She is seeking all the advice. So I have options, of course. I can start completely from scratch, take everything out of these beds or most of the beds and just start with all new seeds. I can start from scratch, take everything out of these beds and start with plants that I am just buying at like the box store and repotting. I can also do a combination of the two, which is what I'm leaning toward because I really want to keep expenses down. So I'm thinking the things that I attempted to grow that will take more than 45 days to harvest, I think I may consider getting those as plants at the box store and just plant them into the garden beds. Then the things that take no more than 45 days from seed to harvest, I will plant as seeds. The lettuce and some of the herbs I will definitely grow just from seed, and everything else, you know, I don't know. I'm thinking I just reduce the amount of things that I'm growing and grow more of that stuff. I do a combo, like I said, where I'm doing some seeds and some transplants from the box store, or I just scrap everything, hit pause, and spend some time really putting nutrition into the soil, and then maybe start again in like the winter or do like a fall garden. I'm not sure. So I need your feedback. Tell me your thoughts, share your insights. I'm definitely not discouraged. I still love my garden so much. I love the beautiful magic that we've created, you know, even in its limited state. But I am learning, and, you know, as a first timer, that things even grew just makes me so damn happy, so happy. So please share your thoughts. Let me know what you think. It is a mystery. I don't know what to do. I'm conflicted. There are pros and cons to everything. So please send help. I need your help desperately. Share your thoughts. I need them. If you like this video, and I really hope that you did, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up, you subscribe, and you click that notification bell because all of that really supports my channel and it means the world to me. I hope your garden is so beautiful, so lush, and doing all the gorgeous, magical things. Thank you so much for hanging with me and watching, my friend. I appreciate you more than you know. Mwah.